Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Property Management Leadership Summit, formerly known as ALPS. So we had a bit of a name change this year, but we're still the same Property Management Leadership Summit, where we're here to ensure that you walk away feeling not just inspired, but empowered to go back and implement positive change into your business, because the business of property management is simple. It really is simple, but we make things difficult for ourselves because we kind of like get trapped into the same old process of believing that's the only way that we do things. So I am here to chat a little bit about some of the things that we can look at to ensure that we're in control of our property management business, or if it's not your business, your career in property management, because I believe that a career in property management is one of the best careers that you can choose. I've had such an awesome career in property management, and I remember when I started, I said, I'm going to go global in property management. I'm going to empower positive change in property management. And a lot of people are saying, oh, Jo, like, how do you think you're going to do that? It's like, I'm not sure right now, but I just need to learn everything I need to know about the business of property management. And right now, for those of you that know me, you know that I've just recently moved to California, and we are now creating our own footprint of property management in the US. So we're conquering those markets, and it's absolutely wonderful to see that people are starting to look up and say, this business of property management, it's awesome. We just need to understand our why. And you heard Susanna George talk about the importance of understanding your why. I know my why, and I hope that by the end of this, you'll be very, very clear about your why in property management, whether it's your business or whether you've chosen a career in property management. So today we're going to talk about, how we coach our team to achieve the pinnacle of success in property management, because that's what it's all about. We can be good, but I like to go beyond good to great, and beyond great to be phenomenal, because I think if you strive to be phenomenal, you will achieve the pinnacle of success in property management, whether it is your own business or it is your career. And one of the things I've learned during my career in property management is that change is the only constant. And you know what? When I was studying this, or when I was researching it, Heraclitus, I don't know if I've said that correctly, but he said change is the only constant years and years ago. So, what's changed? Change. We are constantly changing and evolving. I believe that disruption is just a buzzword, because we are constantly changing and we need to disrupt ourselves. We need to shake ourselves out of, what we think is the norm to create the new norm. This is all about your business. You actually are the only constant in your business. So I'm going to contradict what that last slide said, because when you've got a business, you are the only constant in your business. It's your vision, it's your brand, it's your reputation that we're talking about. Your team is representing you when they're out there. It's your money that you're investing into that business, and it's your blood, sweat, and tears. So what I want you to do is know that by being the only constant in your business, that you have to understand, whether you have a boss-like mentality or a coach-like mentality, because there is a vast difference between the two. And what I see as I, travel from office to office and business to business, and I meet with the different business owners, is that quite often they have a boss-like mentality. And what I want to do is share the difference. So a boss-like mentality, this is a definition, is a professional who controls a business, often using devious or illegal methods to be domineering or overbearing towards staff. Now that's, quite harsh, but, even if we soften that, quite often, because they're not in control of their business, they're just kind of like coaxing the team along. It's like, yeah, you're doing great. That's good. I've got no idea what they're doing. I just hope it's right. I hope what they're telling me is true. Whereas the definition of a coach is a bus. No, not really. But we do get the team onto the bus and drive forward. But the true definition of a coach is a person who teaches and who trains an athlete, or in this case, a performer, because we're there to perform a role when we're working in property management. The other definition is a person who teaches and trains the members of a sports team and makes decisions, keyword decisions, about how the team plays during the game. Business is a game. It's about understanding all the tactics and stats. So a boss is controlling, reactive, domineering, and quite often directionless, because they don't know where to drive their business forward. It's a vision in their head. It's a dream without a plan. Whereas a coach, coaches are empowering. They provide direction. They know where they want to take the team to. They provide strategies and tactics, and they are performance focused. You can't be performance focused if you don't know the stats. So this is about changing a mindset in the industry. We need to know the direction that we're taking, and we need to be open to change. We need to get fact. It's as simple as that, because the stats are in the facts. And what we're looking at is just, what we want to hear, what we're seeing on the surface of what's happening. So note to self, it's your business. You need to be the captain of your business. You need to be the superhero in your business, and you need to be the warrior. Did you see that I had the women as the superhero and the warriors? Like, hey, women are really taking control now. Not that I'm sexist or anything like that, but there is no excuses. You need to make sure that you're constantly improving. The choice is always yours. And it's very easy to make the right choice when you know what your direction is that you are taking your business, regardless of whether it's property management or anything else, because we've got people in our audience today that have other businesses. We've got recruiters here. We've got our partners there. It's all about having a direction to follow. You heard Susanna George, all the things that she's gone through in her business, but she had direction. She had a plan. She didn't react to things that were going on. She responded. And what we see with a lot of property management business owners is they react to whatever is happening in their business now. Share a little story with you. Just before I hopped on the plane to return to Australia, I've got a new team in California, 5 new team members and 1 person who's been there 4 years. This one person manages 60 properties. That's all the doors that she's brought in, because no one was directing her. So 60 doors, she was comfortable with what she was earning at 60 doors. But me coming in as the new Vice President of Property Management, she didn't want to have direction. She just wanted to do what she wanted to do. So 24 hours before I left to return to Australia, she pulled out the slip to say, I'm giving my resignation and I only have to give 24 hours notice. Did I panic? Slightly, internally. It's like, I'm leaving my team here now, and this person who's been managing these 60 doors and, built this relationship with the owners instead of the brand building the relationship, has now walked out. Now my new team consisted of 1 other property manager, a growth manager, and 2 property management coordinators, the admin team, because we're focused on growth for the year. We are focused to build those 60 doors to 1,000 doors within 12 months, and we will have it. I will stand up here next year and I will share with you how we reached 1,000 doors. And I know, hand on heart, we will achieve that. But while I was on the plane returning to Australia, so this is like a 13-hour trip. It's probably 24 hours from the time I leave my office until the time I reach my apartment in the city, the other property manager resigned. So I've left my team. There is no one there managing property. I have a growth manager. I have 2 property management coordinators. both whom are licensed, who were there, Joe, what do we do? Now, the property manager that resigned, she'd been in the job for 2 weeks and she panicked because of what the outgoing property manager was telling her. Did I want to react? I sure did. But I responded because we have a plan in place. So I followed a strategic approach to ensuring that we had communication with our owners and with our tenants. I sent a list to all the team of the owners that they needed to contact, and we're also sending out today a bomb video. Do we all know what a bomb video is? It's a video that we can record and send out to the clients, just advising them of what's happening and the direction that we are now taking with First Team Property Management, so they feel confident that we are in control of the business. Now, whilst all this is going on too, my exiting property manager has taken the liberty to start coercing the current property owners across to the business that she's gone to. So this all happened within a few hours of her leaving, and I just hit the ground here in Brisbane with all this news rolling through. I didn't panic. I was responsive to the situation because we had a plan in place. So I wanted to panic. I wanted to get out there and wring that person's neck, I could tell you. But we left that to the legal team. The choice was mine, and I could make the right decisions because of the plan that we had in place. So the point is, you always have a choice. Know what that choice is going to be. And one of the things I love hearing property managers say, it's not anyone's fault. We don't know why it happened. It just happened. Things don't just happen. Things will happen. We can control the controllables, and the uncontrollables we manage because we are in control of the controllables. So things do happen, but we can also make things happen. And that's exactly what we did in this situation. We made things happen. What also happened over the weekend in California was they had a severe rain event. Now, it hasn't rained in California the whole winter, but it happened to start raining just after I left California. And so what happens is the properties there, they all seem to leak. They must be really bad builders in California. So anyone here that's a builder, go to California because they need builders. So what we did is we took that opportunity then. I drafted an email for my team to send out to all of the tenants to advise them what to do in the event of this severe weather condition, and what to do if the property suffered any damage. We also sent an email to the owners, because a lot of the owners live interstate and overseas, saying you may have heard that there's been a severe weather condition in California, and this is what we are doing to ensure that if your property does suffer any damage, we will be in there and making sure that it is, we mitigate the risk of further damage and loss to the property. So we can be in control. How do I do that? Well, I breathe, I trust, and I let go. I can tell you, when I got off the plane on Friday morning, as jet lagged as I was, and Andrew just called me then, and I was like in panic mode. And I think I was quite calm in that call, wasn't I, Andrew? Thank you. Even though deep down I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do when I get into my apartment? But I just let go because I knew that I had all the strategies in place to ensure that we were in control of the controllables. The other things we would manage as things progressed. And you know what? You'll never get what you truly deserve if you remain attached to what you're supposed to let go of. I wanted to hold on. I wanted to get on the phone and call all of the owners, but I thought, I'm reacting to this. I need to get a hold of the situation. I need to fully understand what is going on here. And we've mitigated a lot of loss. I've been on the phone to a lot of the owners in California, and they're saying, why am I getting a call from someone in Australia? Well, that's really good, because I'm actually in Australia attending a property management leadership summit where we're learning about better service. And so they're like, oh, really intrigued by that. I spun it into a positive. I ensured that they were confident with what we were doing. And, truly, I do want to reach out and say, I'm scared, I'm panicking here. but I'm in control of what's going on. So sometimes letting go is a far greater power than defending or hanging on. Now we see that too. I want to breach the topic of teams. So what we see a lot of property management business owners doing is they're constantly holding on to the team member that they think, if I lose that team member, then my business is going to fall apart. If I lose that team member, then I'm going to, lose all of these clients because my clients love that team member. Does anyone have that situation in their office where they've got someone that has just got such a strong relationship, with their clients, and they think, if I lose them, then everything will fall apart? When the reality is, and I loved what Susanna said this morning, is that, teams will come and go, but your business remains constant. She lost all of her team last year, and that's normally, when we see that, we see business owners panic, absolutely panic, because they've got no one to run the business. I've got no one, managing the clients in California at the moment, and I'm on the other side of the world, but we've got strategies in place. So what we need to understand is, one, the only constant in your business is you, and property management business owners need to have a far greater fear of losing clients than losing team members. Because what property management business owners do now is they're so fearful of losing a team member that they lose sight of the fact that they are losing clients along the way as well. Because we have property managers who gravitate towards a certain clientele that form their portfolio, and other clients who are in their portfolio, they're losing along the way. But business owners are just hearing the fact that my owners love me, they just love me. And they just don't understand that, whilst there is maybe 20% of that property manager's portfolio that the owners do love the property manager, the other 80%, we're losing them. Does that sound familiar in any businesses? We just hold on to those property managers. So you can't start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. And that's what we're seeing a lot of property management business owners do. That is such a long thing to say, property management business owners. It's like, I wish I could shorten that. But what they're doing is they're constantly looking for experience when they're hiring new teams. And when they're looking for experience in the teams, they're redoing what they did, the mistake that they did last time. They're looking for experience, they bring in experience, and that property manager makes the same mistakes because that property manager is usually working to the beat of their own drum. They work the way that they're used to working. And so the business owner thinks, they're relieved, finally we've got someone with experience and, everything is looking great now. And 18 months later, that property manager leaves again. And when that property manager leaves, what they're finding is that they've got the same problems. So we're going to go out, we're going to find another property manager with all of this great experience, and we're caught in this cycle all the time of looking for experience. And one of the things I've learned through my career in property management is you can't measure experience. There is nothing to measure experience. So we're looking at the wrong things when we are thinking, when we need to replace a team member, that we've got to bring in experience. We've got to let go of that in order for the next chapter of our life to be different, the next chapter of our business to be different. And how are we going to do that? Well, it's all about knowing the numbers. I look across the audience, I've just seen Julie walk in wearing purple. Thank you. It's amazing how many people just kind of like show up in purple. Thank you. I feel like Steve Irwin with the khaki. You just know, if you go and see Joe, wear purple. So it's all about knowing the numbers, and I call it being fact fit. If we are fact fit, we can control our business. However, what we see with a lot of business owners is they're fantasy flippant. They see what's above the surface of the water and they don't know what's going on underneath. Their team will tell them, everything's going really great. Oh, that's good, that's good. But the business owner is secretly wondering, why did we lose those clients? I'll ask my property manager, why did we lose the clients? Well, we lost the clients because, they were just not good owners. They didn't know what to do, in owning a rental property. They wouldn't do maintenance. They expected all of these things. Well, it comes back to us, the way that we communicated to those owners on what we expected them to do in owning rental property. But all we're looking at there is the fact that this property manager is managing all of these doors, and she's got clients, or he or she's got clients that they absolutely love the property manager, but what's happening in the background is we've got disgruntled clients. We're not measuring what those clients are really feeling about the business. So all we're seeing is the surface of the business. Do you guys mind if I get off the stage? I really hate being on stage. I like walking around because I feel more energy when I walk around. I like to be amongst you. And when I'm on the stage, I put these shoes on today because I left my lower shoes in California, and I couldn't believe that I'm stuck with these ridiculously high heel shoes, and I've got this fear of falling off the stage, so I'm going to be safer down here. So let's talk about how do we know the numbers. Can everyone still hear me? Yeah, so how do we know these numbers? It's like a sports team. A sports team prepares at the start of the season. They select their team by design, don't they? They know the sort of players that they need for their team in order to achieve what their goals are for that season. Now, they don't think, well, this year we're going to win the premiership, when it's not realistic. But this year they're going to improve their standing on the ladder because we're going to get the right players in and we're going to train them. So in 3 years' time, we will win the premiership. That's our goal. They understand. They're not, don't have fantasies about when they're going to win the premiership. They know theirs and their opponents' strengths and weaknesses. They know what they're going out for. They watch. What did that team last year do to win the premiership? They're the guys that we have to beat this year. What do we have to do it? They know their stats. They know the numbers that they have to achieve in order to improve their ranking in the ladder or on the ladder. Or if they are aiming for premiership, what they need to do to win the premiership for that year. They're performance focused and results driven. Now let's look at a business team. Well, a business team must prepare for the new financial year. How can we just roll into the new financial year if we haven't prepared what we need to do in order to, one, remain relevant, and two, remain profitable? Because being in business is all about being profitable, isn't it? And the only way that we're going to be profitable is if we're delivering on the promises, service and results that we make to our clients. Would you all agree on that? If we're not delivering on our promises, then we're not going to retain our clients. They select their team by design. Now, when we were recruiting for the new team in California, we knew exactly what we were looking for in each of those team members. So we had, probably about 50 applications because we were recruiting 5 people. We had the 3 different roles. And what we wanted to do was we wanted a starting 5, like a basketball team. So with those starting 5, we had to ensure that their skills and their character and their attitude and their abilities all melded together so we had one strong team. It wasn't someone that's just like, oh, just because you're really good, we're going to bring you in, because I did have some good candidates, but I knew that they would impact the other ones I was looking at. So I needed something that was going to be really strong, and we found that team. They know theirs and their competitors' strengths and weaknesses. We did so much research in California, in fact, a year's worth of research, where Stace and I had an awesome time. We were posing as Aussie investors in Orange County and going out and talking to property management companies about their service, and we tested what the experience was like, both on the phone, when we went to visit them, when we sent an email. What was it like? Because they're the people that this company that we were just doing research for at the time were going to compete against. And what we discovered was there was no competition. You know, one of the funny things that they all used to say is, oh yes, we're really, really good at vetting tenancy applications. Like, okay, that's a standard. And then the other thing they would say is, we have a really, really good eviction process. It's like, hang on a sec, that's a contradiction. And they all said it. So it's like, we know what to do when we go out there with this company and say, we are, you know, the strongest in the market because this is what we do for you. You invest in property to maximise the returns on that property, to optimise the growth. We're going to do annual reviews on that property. We're going to help you to understand how to gain the best out of that property. And we will be rolling in the doors at the, you know, as we get going. We know our stats. We are performance focused and results driven. We are results driven for the clients because if we achieve the results for the clients, guess what happens? We achieve the results that we set for the company, don't we? We know what we're aiming for. Hello, Yuma. How are you? Good. Good. We have got, after lunch, we have got the most awesome session that I think we've ever had at the Leadership Summit. So we've got Yuma and we've got Josh. So make sure after lunch that you are back on time for their session because I'm super excited about these kids. You know, kids are almost taller than me, but anyhow, that doesn't take much, does it? So a coach. Now, what does a coach do? They guide, they lead, they nurture, and they support their teams. They come from a position of know. If they know what they're helping their team or the individual person that they're coaching to do, they can help them to achieve that. My brother is here. My brother is a Winter Olympian. He's a bobsledder. My son is here. He's a bobsledder. Now, their coaches had to coach them on the areas of their body that they needed to focus on in order to be the elite athletes that they are. 10 minutes, I told you I talk too much. So they are fact fit. I could talk all afternoon, I just love this topic. A boss, on the other hand, is defensive. They're always right, they're manipulative. Come on, let's just do this, it's all right. We'll get through, we'll decide what we need to do later if there is a problem surrounding that decision I just made. Let's just do it. You can't do that when you're running a business. You need to know what the consequences are. So you need to know when you make a choice that the choice is right. They come from a position of, I don't know, let's just do it and hope for the best. Ever been there? Yeah, it happens. So they are fantasy flippant, aren't they? They're like, let's just do it. Yeah, team, we're going to, you know, achieve this. You're going to have 0% arrears and then I'm going to take you all out for dinner. They're not focusing on the right things. A sports coach knows the season's objectives, goals, targets. They have a vision. They have a game plan. Businesses have to have a game plan as well. A business coach knows the financial year's objectives, goals, targets, visions. It's the same thing, isn't it? Business is no different than being a sporting coach or coaching a celebrity or coaching an author. It's the same thing. We have a why, we have a purpose, we have a plan, we have a drive to get to where we're going. It's all about, you know, they call it the game of survivor. I call it the game of thriver because we want to thrive here. It's about outwitting, outplaying and outlasting. Outwit, how do we outwit in business? We have strategies. We know the necessary moves. I wanted to just be very defensive about this property manager just leaving with 24 hours notice and now dragging managements across. But I've got a strategy. So I'm responding to the situation. I will establish relevance in all markets and economies. So those property owners, if I lose them now, they'll come back because we'll communicate with them about what's going on with their properties. This does not work very well. Outplay, it's all about communication. Oh gosh, it's trying to beat me. We eliminate the competitors because we have fact-fit winning play. It's just like Jason and Ted. They knew what they needed to do in order to have the winning moves in, you know, racing in bobsled. They outlast. Now, the only way to outlast in this industry, Rose Kelly is here. Rose, I remember when I arrived in Brisbane, where's she gone? She was here before. You know, I used to look at her and think, wow, you know, what an inspiration. And she's still in the industry today. You know, that's not saying she's old or anything. That means I'm old too. But, you know, she's outlasted. She's changed her mindset. She has survived all market conditions. How do we do that? Because we conceive, we believe, and then we achieve what we set out, what we want to do. We visualise. I made up this little strategy. I call it 3D dreaming. And what I do in order to visualise, because if you visualise something, you will achieve it. So I call it 3D dreaming, where what I do is I desire what I want to achieve or what I want to do or what I aim to do. I define how I'm going to do it, and then I do it. Because nothing's going to happen if you don't take action, right? And everything is about a strategy. Now, everyone talks about dream boards. Well, dream boards are great, but we need the strategy that goes behind it. So before I do my dream board, I have a strategy. What do I need to do in order to achieve what my dream is, what my vision is? Because it's all about strategy. If you are brave enough to say goodbye, life will reward you with a new hello. And sometimes we just want to hold on to what we think is normal instead of stepping out there, step out on the ledge and say, it's okay, I'm fact fit. I know I will survive. I know my business will survive. I know, you know, that we will achieve what we set out to do. Now, I'm not going to share that with you today, but I'm going to tease you with it because this is my formula for success. But send me an email and ask me, Jo, what is the formula for success? Because I believe everything is mathematical and scientific. So how do we achieve success in business? Well, it's all about this formula. So please send me an email and I'll share that with you. Performance. How do I coach my team on performance? Well, it's about knowing the critical factors. Your critical factors in your business are your average, no way, 5 minutes, give me a break. Yeah. I told Steph, you know, make sure that you're really harsh on me because I just want to keep on talking. So it's about knowing the critical factors. What is your average weekly or monthly rent depending on your markets? What is your average management fee and what are you actually achieving? Because I go into offices and they say our management fee is 8%, but in reality your management fee is 6.5%. How did you get so low when your fee is 8%? So why are you discounting? Because you're not believing in the service that you're providing to your clients. It's about economic and geographical influences. Not all businesses are the same. You know, there's certain things in our markets that determine how far and how quickly we can get from place to place. If you live in the city, you're going to do a lot of walking if you're managing, you know, properties in the city. So how long does it take you to walk around the city, especially if you're wearing stupidly high heels like this? Or if you live in, regional areas, you can travel vast distances to the properties. You could do 20 kilometres to those properties and you're on a highway travelling. You do 20 kilometres in the city, you've got stoplights all the way. So you've got to take that into consideration. Average management fees, income per portfolio. You know, what we're seeing is that business owners are not managing the numbers in the, you know, a property manager is being paid so much. There's also other overheads that they have for each portfolio. Is that portfolio profitable? If it's not, what do we need to do to ensure that portfolio is profitable? Because we are in business to achieve profits, aren't we? We wouldn't exist if we didn't achieve profits. And what I love about that is if we achieve profits, it means our owners are getting the best possible returns on their business. Now, as a team, what they do is they're constantly stepping out of the game and they're having their huddles. It's like, are we on track? What do we need to do? What's our next gameplay? It's the same in business. We don't just roll into the office every morning and say, oh, hey, good morning. Yeah, I've got inspections to do today. We need to know what our game plan is for the day. So how do we do that with our team? The critical measures. Critical measures are things like average area market rent. What we look at now is we're achieving an average of, say, $500 a week for our properties, whereas the average in the area is maybe $600. We're not achieving average, so our clients are not going to like that. We want to ensure that we're always achieving above average. Arrears, we need to look at that. We have property managers who say my arrears is, 3%, but in reality that 3% could be $20,000. So that means that all those owners are not getting that rent. The other thing is, if we've got arrears, $20,000, work out your income in the business. We went into one business, $100,000 in arrears. Exactly, sick. And the business owner had no idea because the teams were telling them, no, the owners are all good with the ones that are in arrears because they understand, we've had Christmas and so they've got bills after Christmas. The owners have got bills too. So does the business owner. If you've got arrears, it means you're not getting your management fees. If you're not getting your management fees, reality check, you can't pay salaries. So we need to ensure that we are on top of arrears. We need to manage vacancy rate. We should know that our vacancy rate is 1.2%. The average in the area is 2.5%. We're better than market average. We have to know these numbers. We have to be fact fit. We need to be able to play the game. We need to know the distance to property ratio and the percentage of houses against apartments. There is no average number of doors that a property manager can manage. There is no average. It's all about the individual business. So don't listen to anyone who says, a property manager should be managing 120 doors. I was working with one business owner in Perth in Western Australia. She was told by a consultant that the property managers should only be managing 70 doors. 70 doors? No. And that the property managers should be paid $70,000 each, no less than $70,000. I said to her, you will never be profitable. She said, thank you, you make sense. Of course I make sense because we're in the business of making profit. Because if we make profit, we are making profit for our clients. So I'm going to finish this off with, when you are in control of your business, think of it like a sporting team where you make sure that you've got the right people in the right place, that you are achieving the targets that you set for your business. I see a lot of businesses talk about KPIs, key performance indicators. I ask them, what do you measure those key performance indicators against? It's like, well, we're told that arrears should be about 3%, like vacancy, like it's taking maybe about 2 weeks to rent a property. It's like, what are your key performance indicators for your team? Well, that's the average that we're being told. Key performance indicators are derived out of the BPI. Does anyone know what the BPI is? It's the business performance indicators. Our business performance indicators are derived out of our operational business plan. It's the only way that we know that we can be profitable. It's the only way that we know that we can measure performance and productivity. It's the only way that we can measure the promises that we make to our clients. So don't just work on, what someone says is an average KPI. KPIs are something that we expect the team to achieve as part of their role. If they achieve beyond that, it means that we are starting to be very profitable, we have relevance in our market, and we are relevant in the minds of our clients that we're serving. So that's a little bit of an overview of business. I've only shared with you like a snippet today, but I hope you are hungry to learn more, because if you've got a property management business, you've got to be in control of that business. In fact, if you've got any business, you've got to be in control of that business. And the only way that you're going to be in control is if you are fact fit. There is facts in the stats. So I urge every one of you here today to get fact, and you will enjoy your business. So thank you.